This Sunday uh, begins, well, it's Palm Sunday. Talk about that in a second. And we also call it Holy Week, where we follow the events of Jesus during the last week of his life. For about a month, I've been sharing some of these events on my past YouTubes. In fact, I actually started with one I called The Faith of Martha. If you haven't seen those, you can go back to my YouTube channel and catch them. They're still there. But Holy Week begins this Sunday, and we call it Palm Sunday, where Jesus comes riding into Jerusalem. Shared about that. If I were going to other events, you can read about it in the gospel. We talked about was Jesus cleansing the temple, Jesus having the Last Supper with his disciples, sharing about something that's never been done before, which we celebrate to this day. We call it communion or the Eucharist. Shared about Jesus washing their feet. Now, Jesus goes to the garden to pray. It's coming very close to where they're going to capture him, try him, crucify him. But let me read to you what happens in the garden. I'm going to be taking this from Luke chapter 22. And yeah, starting verse 39. And he came out and proceeded, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives. And the disciples also followed him. When he arrived at the place, he said to them, "Pray that you might not enter into temptation." And he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and prayed, saying, "Father, if you are willing, please remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Now an angel appeared uh, from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And he prayed even stronger in agony. His sweat became like drops of blood falling down on the ground. When he rose from prayer, he came to his disciples and found them sleeping from sorrow. And he said to them, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you may not enter temptation." Now, we are going to get to the cross, and I'm going to share about that next Friday, because that's what we call Good Friday. But I want to have a stay in the garden just for a minute. Be there in the garden. Read this again. And he's praying and he's praying, "God, please take this cup away from me. Please take this cup away from me." Uh, and he's praying so much. Luke said in Luke's gospel that he's like almost sweating blood, which I heard it's possible. You can be in such stress, your pores can open up and you can bleed. But please, God, take this cup away. Take this cup away. I used to think when I heard that prayer, he was saying, "I don't want to die on the cross. Ooh, that's terrible." And that may be a bit of it, but I don't think Jesus was frightened of the cross, uh, frightened of death. I don't think so, as hideous as that was. But what is the cup he's talking about? Some have called this the wrath of God's cup, God's wrath. And he says, "I don't want to take this cup because this is going to be taking on," I know this sounds trite, or I hope it doesn't sound trite, but he's taking upon our sins, the sins of the whole world, past, present. He's taking on God's wrath for us. Please remember, Paul says the wages of sin is death. And if that just stopped there, we're going to die. But Jesus, but this God's wrath is something. Is there another plan, or is there another way we can do this? Please, God. He's begging God, because this is different. Only Jesus could do this. He's going to take on the wrath of God for us. we're going to get to the cross next week, because I was told once, and we got to get to the cross, people. Maybe more than once in our life, we got to get to the cross. See what Jesus did for us on the cross. I'm going to talk more about that and briefly talk about Easter. But before we get to Easter, someone said, how can you really grasp what it means for him to rise for you if you don't know what it meant for him to die for you? In all the years I would preach on Easter Sunday as a pastor, churches are filled then. People are coming. And I'm glad they came. It's a great message to preach from. But many times I think, did they get it? Did they get it? Have they been to the cross? Sometimes I celebrate Easter and I forget to go to the cross. Get to the cross. That's what we talk about now, next Friday. But now stay in the garden. Jesus is going to take on this fifth cup, the cup of the wrath, God's wrath for us. Just go to the garden.